What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch back here with another NFL video. In this video, my overrated NFL teams heading into the 2021 NFL season. The teams that are being overhyped by NFL fans and NFL media. Before I give you my most overrated teams in football entering 2021, make sure that you do spike that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the Bottom Line View for more NFL lists and analysis just like this. Also, check out my Patreon where you can find exclusive NFL content not seen on YouTube. Let's kick off the most overrated teams in the NFL entering 2021 with the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins had a successful and somewhat surprising season in 2020. And everybody seemingly expects them to get better this season, but I actually expect them to regress in 2021. I do not quite see them being a double-digit win team again this season. And I know that they are technically more talented, and I understand that Tua is entering his second season, but I kind of felt like last season was a bit of a fluke, to be honest with you, and I thought a lot of things went their way, including the New England Patriots not being very good and the New York Jets being one of the worst teams in the NFL. Both of those teams will be better. I think where I believe the Dolphins are overrated is I don't see them being in the top two in the AFC East. I think they'll compete for a wild card spot in the AFC, but I think their shaky quarterback position, I'm not a big fan of Tua, a very bad offensive line with a lackluster running game, and a defense that very well could improve in the front seven, but now with Howard potentially being traded, that does definitely scare me. I just don't see this team being able to replicate their success from 2020. The second most overrated team in the NFL entering 2021 is the Indianapolis Colts. Now, this might change because of the injury to Carson Wentz, but when people talk about the Colts, they talk about them as if they are the AFC's version of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like, people are talking about the Colts having a phenomenal upper echelon roster, and I'm not sure where they're getting this from. Sure, they have talented running backs and a great offensive line, but other than that, no other position ranks at the top of the NFL. I love Frank Reich. I think they have a good coaching staff, and I think they're a competitive NFL team. Don't get me wrong, but if you rank them inside the top three or top four in the AFC, or even as the best team in their own division, I am a little bit skeptical about that. Like, Carson Wentz was one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. So whether you have him or you don't, you're kind of not great at the quarterback position. You don't have many electric receivers or playmakers in the receiving game. And you did lose your left tackle. I understand Eric Fisher was signed, but I'm not sure he'll be the same player, especially as Anthony Castonzo has been. And defensively, you've lost a lot of proven reliable edge rushers to get to the quarterback. You don't have a lot of proven reliable players at that position any longer, which is one of the most important positions on your entire defense because of the scheme that you run. And the secondary is just average. So to me, the Colts are a pretty good team. They are a borderline playoff team, but way too many people expect them to be an AFC contender. And I simply do not see the talent or the reasons to say that they are that. At number 3, the New Orleans Saints. The Saints will regress this season. I am almost absolutely positive, 99% sure that the Saints will not be the team that they were a year ago. But it's not only that, I actually think the Saints are going to take significant strides backwards this year. And it's not really like I hate the Saints, I dislike the Saints, or whatever. I just don't think they're gonna be good this year. Now, maybe they're good next year, 2 years from now. I have a lot of faith in Sean Payton and this organization to figure things out. But this year, the year after losing a legendary quarterback, is always difficult. As a Patriots fan, I know how that feels, and my team certainly regressed even with Bill Belichick. Now you're going with an experiment at quarterback, rather Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston. Yes, you still have a great offensive line, you still have Alvin Kamara, but you might not have Michael Thomas for most of the season. Not to mention you lost Jared Cook and Emmanuel Sanders, two complementary playmakers. I'm not sure where the receiving element is going to come into this offense, and with the quarterback being up in the air, that certainly doesn't help things. Defensively, you lost a ton of depth. Arguably, this team, this roster was the most talented in football. It certainly was taken down a few pegs from free agency and because of your cap situation. Overall, I don't think the NFC South is exactly friendly to the Saints this year, and I don't think their schedule is friendly at all. I feel the Saints will not be in the conversation for the NFC playoffs. They will miss the playoffs and be just an average football team. At number 4, the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are overrated because I see so many people picking them to win this division and or go far in the playoffs, and I just do not have the faith in Cliff Kingsbury. It is simple as that. I don't think this guy can get that team to the promised land. Plus, they have a lot of names. They have a lot of guys that you say, hey, maybe he's a Hall of Famer, but they're old. They're past their prime. This is a retirement home in Arizona. I like Kyler Murray, but I don't love Kyler Murray. I don't love the offensive scheme. I don't love their offensive line or their running game. And their defense, their secondary is just a bunch of pieces of average to below average players other than Budda Baker. I get it. There's a lot of talent here, but I don't necessarily feel like the talent on this team will make a cohesive whole and a great football team. Look at this division and look at the coaches in comparison to your coach. I just don't see the Cardinals being a playoff team right now. At number 5, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, this one's a tricky one because there's some people that actually underrate the Pittsburgh Steelers. But for my case, I feel that Steelers fans in general overrate their team. Now, that's the case for a lot of teams and a lot of fan bases, but the Pittsburgh Steelers are overrated if you expect them to be anywhere close to what they were a year ago. They will not be a playoff team this year. I do not think they have the makings of being a playoff team this year, and I am really not even considering them to be a playoff team this year. So you might say I'm underrating them. I think they're generally overrated because of the name Pittsburgh Steelers. Just because they have Mike Tomlin and Big Ben does not mean that Mike Tomlin is the coach that he was, or that Big Ben especially is the quarterback that he used to be. And neither does it mean just because they're called the Steelers that they'll be a playoff team. I get it, legacy and all that and consistency, I get it. But if that's your main reason for this team being good, it's not a warranted reason in my opinion. Take a look at this team. Their offensive line is an absolute mess. They still have one of the most skeptical offensive schemes in the game, and I'm not sure Big Ben's willing to adjust to the modern passing game. I really am not. Najee Harris in the first round could be a very talented back, but is he going to be able to find a hole with this terrible offensive line? The receiving core's good, but I've definitely seen better. I could see Claypool having a breakout season, Deontay Johnson having a breakout season, but that's probably going to be because they're trailing in game. I don't think their defense will be able to carry them this year the way that they have. Their secondary's lost some pieces, especially at corner. I think they've lost some pieces on the front seven. I just don't see this team, especially getting older a little bit on defense, getting older at quarterback. Big Ben, I really feel this is going to be the year that he kind of falls off. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't see the Steelers being a double-digit win team. I think they'll be in the conversation, right? 8, 9 wins, 7 wins area, but I don't think they're going to be good enough to be a playoff team. I'm sorry. At number 6, the Green Bay Packers. Now, the Green Bay Packers to me are overrated because of their recent history. They went to the NFC Championship. They were the number 1 seed in the NFC. 2 years in a row, they went to that NFC Championship game. And they have Aaron Rodgers, the league MVP, who looks to be playing this season. They also have Devontae Adams and a lot of talent on their roster. The reason the Packers are overrated, 2 things. I do not see them advancing in the playoffs very far because I don't think they have the camaraderie, the chemistry, or really the belief. I just think there's too much going on in that organization behind the scenes between general manager and quarterback, coach and quarterback, teammates on the team wanting to be paid or leave. I just don't see that as a good situation. Secondly, I feel like last year was their opportunity because all of their best players played their best. Aaron Rodgers was the MVP. Devontae Adams was arguably the most productive receiver in the NFL. Aaron Jones was a top 10 back. David Bakhtiari was arguably the best left tackle in the league. Corey Linsley, who's left the team, was the best center in the NFL. Defensively, Zadarius Smith was phenomenal. Alexander was arguably the best corner in the game. Adrian Amos was awesome. Like, all of their players that could play at the highest level played at the highest level, outside of maybe Kenny Clark. And that's about it. So this team really, from a performance perspective, cannot get much better. They played at their peak a year ago. I think the Vikings are better in their division, which will give them a little bit of competition within the NFC North. I'm not saying they'll miss the playoffs or anything like that. I think that's a little wild, but I just don't see them being a true NFC contender this season. At number 7, my final overrated team is the Dallas Cowboys. Now, personally, I like the Cowboys this year, and I have a lot of good things to say about the Cowboys. I think their defense is young. I think they will improve this year. I like the addition of Dan Quinn as the defensive coordinator. I like Kellen Moore as the OC. I think their offense will put up a lot of points. But I think they're overrated because almost unanimously, they are being selected to win the NFC East, and I don't think they're that good to be almost a unanimous selection to win this division. Too many people picking the Cowboys to win this division, in my opinion, across the media and in the NFL fandom. I just don't see them being that good. Like, you can certainly make arguments for Washington and the Giants, both of them, to win this division over the Cowboys, right? The Cowboys clearly have holes. They are clearly flawed. Just because they have the best quarterback in the division doesn't mean they're gonna win this division. Washington arguably has the better roster. I don't even think that is arguable. And the Giants are probably the most well-rounded team in this division overall and have a lot of elite talent. So I just think they're overrated because they are being crowned when they shouldn't be. But that's not atypical for the Dallas Cowboys. So there you have it, my overrated NFL teams entering 2021. Let me know yours in the comments section below. It's Mitch. Peace.